There is a moment in a woman's life when she stops saying sorry, not because she has become hard, not because she has stopped caring, but because she has finally understood something it takes most people a lifetime to learn, that she was apologizing for things that were never wrong in the first place. You may have met a woman like this. She is somewhere past 70, and there is a lightness about her. She does not shrink herself to make others comfortable. She does not soften every sentence with, "I'm sorry, but..." She simply is who she is. Today I want to talk about the 7 things a strong woman quietly stops apologizing for after 70. And as you listen, I want you to notice how many of them you have already let go of, because you may be further along this road than you realize. These are not lessons you sit down and study. They arrive slowly, one quiet realization at a time, until one day the apology simply does not come anymore. Let's walk through them together. Number 1, she stops apologizing for taking up space. For most of her life, a woman is taught in 100 small ways to be smaller, to speak more softly, to not be too much, to let others go first. So she learns to apologize for her presence. Sorry for interrupting, sorry for asking, sorry for being in the way. But after 70, something shifts. She has earned her place in every room she walks into. She has lived long enough, given enough, survived enough, that she no longer feels she must justify simply being there. She can voice her opinion without wrapping it in 10 apologies. She can take her seat at the table and know she belongs. This is not arrogance. This is a woman who has finally stopped believing she needs permission to exist fully. And if you have reached that place, where you no longer apologize for taking up the space that is rightfully yours, that is not a small thing. That is a lifetime of quiet courage finally paying off. Number 2, she stops apologizing for saying no. Younger women often say yes to things they do not want out of guilt, out of fear of disappointing, out of the belief that a good woman is always available. And every yes that should have been a no leaves a small mark of resentment behind. But a strong woman after 70 has learned the true weight of her time. She knows now that her hours are not endless, that her energy is precious, and that every yes to one thing is a no to something else. So she says no, cleanly, without a long explanation, without an apology attached to the end, not out of coldness, but out of respect for the life she has left. Psychologists call this protecting your energy. Older women who master it are consistently found to be calmer, healthier, and more content. If you can now say no and let it be a complete sentence, you have claimed back something most people give away their whole lives. Number 3, she stops apologizing for how she looks. There is enormous pressure on women to stay young, to hide their age, to apologize quietly for every gray hair and every line. And so many women spend decades at war with the mirror. But a rare woman after 70 has made peace with her own face. She looks at her wrinkles and does not see flaws. She sees a map. Every line drawn by a laugh, a worry, a season she lived through. She stops apologizing for not looking younger because she understands that her face is not a problem to be fixed. It is the honest record of a life fully lived. She can walk out the door exactly as she is, comfortable, unbothered, real. If you have reached a place where you no longer apologize for your age, where you carry your years like something earned rather than something to hide, then you have made a peace that many people never find. Number 4, she stops apologizing for needing rest. For most of her life, a woman is praised for how much she does, how much she gives, how tirelessly she keeps going for everyone else. So rest begins to feel like laziness, sitting down feels like guilt, and she apologizes even to herself for slowing down. But after 70, a strong woman finally gives herself permission to stop. She understands now that rest is not a reward you must earn. It is a need, as basic as food and water. She can take her afternoon quietly. She can say, I'm tired today, without shame. She can do less and be at peace with it. She has done enough in her life. She has nothing left to prove. If you can rest now without guilt, without apology, without the feeling that you should be doing more, that is not weakness. That is a woman who has finally learned to be as kind to herself as she has always been to everyone else. Number 5. She stops apologizing for her boundaries even with family. This is one of the hardest ones, because family is where a woman gives the most and asks for the least. For years, she may have accepted things she did not want to accept, absorbed comments that hurt, made herself endlessly available because she believed that is what love requires. But a strong woman after 70 has learned a deeper truth. Love without boundaries is not love, it is exhaustion. She can say to her own children gently but clearly, "This does not work for me." She can protect her peace without guilt, even from the people she loves most. She is not shutting anyone out. She is simply refusing to disappear inside her own family. Psychologists call this boundaried love, and it is the mark of a woman who has done real emotional work. If you can hold a boundary now, even with the people closest to you, and not apologize for it, you have found a kind of strength that changes everything. Number 6. She stops apologizing for enjoying her own company. There was a time when being alone felt like something to explain, something almost embarrassing, as though a woman on her own must be lonely or must have somehow failed. So she apologized for it. She filled her calendar. She over-explained her quiet evenings. But a rare woman after 70 has discovered a secret. Her own company is good company. She can spend a whole day alone and feel full, not empty. She can eat a meal by herself and enjoy it. She can sit in the quiet of her own home and feel, for the first time in years, completely at peace. She no longer apologizes for choosing solitude, because she knows now that being alone and being lonely are two entirely different things. If you have learned to enjoy your own company, to treat solitude as rest rather than punishment, you have found something most people spend their whole lives running away from. Number 7. She stops apologizing for the life she actually lived. Every woman reaches a point where she looks back, and it is so easy in that looking back to apologize, to wish she had done more, chosen differently, been braver or gentler or wiser than she was. But a strong woman after 70 does something rare. She looks at her whole life, the good and the hard, the choices she is proud of and the ones she is not, and she stops apologizing for any of it, because she understands now that she did the best she could with what she knew at the time she knew it. The path she walked was hers, the mistakes taught her, the losses shaped her, and every single step brought her to the woman she is today. She does not need her life to have been perfect. She only needs to accept that it was hers. If you can look back now and make peace with the life you actually lived, instead of the one you think you should have, then you have found the deepest freedom there is. 7 things. 7 quiet apologies finally set down. If even a few of these felt like you, I want you to pause for a moment and take that in. Because you did not stop apologizing overnight. You earned this peace through every hard year, every sacrifice, every time you kept going when it would have been easier to give up. That deserves to be seen. Share this video with a strong woman in your life who needs to hear it today. And if you are new here, this is what we do on this channel. Honest conversations for real women. No quick fixes, no noise, just truth. I will see you next week.